Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. I hope you've had a fantastic week thus far and are ready to face the day. We're going to continue our series, Letting God Be God. I'm going to take this 2 more weeks, and then we're going to kind of go back to an abbreviated devotional as softball season gets ready to kick off. But anyway, we're going to continue today with Letting God Be God when we talk about the death of Lazarus. This is where Jesus obviously raises Lazarus from the dead, but we're going to let Scripture speak for itself right now. We're going to jump into John 11. This is where the story is found. Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard that, he said, This illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews are now seeking to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in a day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. After saying these things, he said to them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go to awaken him. The disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover. Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought that he meant he was taking rest in sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus has died, and for your sake I am glad that I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. So Thomas, called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. Verse 17, Now when Jesus came, he found Lazarus. He had already been in the tomb 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. So when Martha heard Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary remained seated in the house. I see the difference in him. Martha rushes right to him, and I think, I'm just speculating, but, Mary might have been just like, what we called him, he didn't come. She might have been a little irritated, and Martha approaches Jesus in verse 21. It says, Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. And I love her faith. She knows who Jesus is, and she knows that is the Son of God, and that anything he asks, God is going to give him. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, he shall yet live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world. When she said this, she went and called her sister Mary, saying in private, The teacher is here and is calling for you. So Jesus called, obviously sent Martha to go get Mary. And when she heard it, she rose quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary rise quickly and go out, they followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to weep there. Now when Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved. They said to him, Lord, come and see. Moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. And Jesus wept. And I love the beauty and the compassion of Jesus. He knows what's going to happen, but he sees their broken heart, and that breaks his heart. And I just encourage us to have that same compassion with those around us and those that we care about and love, to hurt when they're hurting and rejoice when they're rejoicing. So the Jews said, See how he loved him. But some of them said, Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man also have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead 4 days. Now this is the same Martha that says, If you ask God, I know he'll give you anything. And at this point where she's got to take action, right? She's like, Lord, it's going to stink in there, right? Because he's been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not tell you, if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone, and Jesus lifted up his eyes, and he said, Father, I thank you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this on account of the people standing around, that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The man who died came out, his hands and feet bound with linen strips, and his face wrapped with cloth. Jesus said to him, Unbind him and let him go. And I just love this. I love this verse, and it just stands out to me. Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? I would love to see the glory of God manifested in my life, and maybe he's not going to raise my brother from the dead. But what an awesome story. What an awesome time. You know, Jesus shows his compassion. He foretells what he's going to do. And then he tells her, you know, this is, now I'm telling you what I need you to do. I want you to follow in obedience. And when she obeyed, he called Lazarus out. And I just encourage us to have that same faith, knowing, you know what, Jesus is the Son of God, and God is all-powerful and almighty, and he can move in ways that are way beyond us, and that if we just have faith and walk where he's leading us, that he will move in an amazing way. And I just encourage you to keep fighting the good fight, keep walking that walk, and keep the faith. God bless you, and have a blessed day.